it, and I'll do the intro to the show and your intro, and then I'll get right to you. Hi, everybody. I know a lot of you don't watch while we're doing this. You watch later, and that's awesome. I have a special guest here today. You're going to get to know her in a minute. But right now I'm doing the intro to the show. This show was created just so you people who go to watch comedy can get to know comedians off stage, who they are, what are their likes, what do they hate, whatever they want to say. You'll get to hear it here. And then you can say, oh, you know that guy that was a skateboarder and he sold ice cream cones in the summertime in Orlando? I want to go see him. And then you'll go see him. You already like him, so you're probably going to like what he says. It just increases your odds of going to the right comedy show if you get to meet the comedians first. So that's what I'm doing here. That's all I'm trying to do. Please, if you find somebody here that you want to like and follow instead of me, hey, do it. I've got followers. I'm not afraid. If you want to go and follow the Bree today after you like her, if you like her better than me, and go, you know what, I need to get rid of Linda Marcus Smith, she's gonna die anyway. I get it. So thanks a lot for watching the show. Please subscribe to the YouTube comedian Linda Marcus Smith. I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's all I ask. Now I want to go to the introduction of my very esteemed guest today. Her name Brianna Jaye, but her stage name is the Bree, Thebri. Here is the intro that she sent me to say. Bear with me because I really should go get my glasses and I'm not good.
Right, I get it.
Here we go. Bumpy ride coming up. She says, I am Brianna, the Bree Rockmore, and I am a human comedian and trans woman all wrapped up in one. I began my comedy career in 2019, a year before the COVID brewery shut down the world, pausing my dream for a brief 2 years. I resumed my career December 2021, and technically I have pursued my love of stand-up a little over 2 years now. My career started by attending a comedy class at the Improv Comedy Club in Orlando with Carmen Valone. I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
During my time as a comedian, I've accomplished some cool things. I was a part of Las Culturistas, I Don't Think So Honey, live podcast in Orlando with Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang, SNL cast member, along with a handful of local comics. I have performed in the famed play Vagina Monologues. I have acted in a variety sketch series on YouTube, and I'm currently in a pre-production for a new sitcom pilot. Other accomplishments include charity events, one with the Orlando Youth Empowerment Summit, performing for kids, and a suicide prevention event called Stand Up for Suicide Prevention, alongside comedian Colin Williams. I know Colin. So this is
that was 2019. Yeah, he's a nice guy. We talked before and after the show, and we hung out a little bit. Yeah, good guy. He's had a life, I tell you.
What? Oh my gosh, I need to have him on. I haven't heard his story. I've just seen him. I saw he came to one mic I did in Portland, Oregon. So I believe he has a name of Colin Williamson, but he goes by Colin Williams. Tall with dark hair.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's tall with dark hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same guy. Awesome. Yeah. So let's go back to you. You were born and raised in the Orlando area?
No, I'm actually from Pensacola, Florida, the Panhandle of Florida. After high school, I moved to Tennessee for a while with my dad. Went to school, didn't know what to do. So after getting tired of the snow, because I'm not a snowbird, I moved to Orlando to go back to college and actually finish my degree. And I've been here since. I haven't moved.
Where'd you
Been here
get your
since
degree
2004.
in?
Huh?
Where'd you get your degree in?
Marketing.
Nice. So have you taken that degree and worked in that field?
Sale. I did in the sales realm. I've done sales in the past. I worked for a local magazine here in Orlando. I worked for Miami Heat right out of college, doing inside sales. But I'm too personable. I'm like, I become more friends with people, especially when it was the local magazine. I became more friends with my clients versus wanting to ask them for money. So I'm like, this isn't for me. Plus, I left that job to focus on comedy. That was around the time I started the comedy, and I was like, I had an opportunity to work for a law firm, and it was part-time at the time, but I thought, you know what? I had this head. I'm like, I can do this. I can just work part-time, go do comedy. And then the pandemic started.
Well, let's delve in a
All
little
about
bit.
timing.
Yeah, let's delve into you going into comedy. That's always an interesting transition for me, for people going from something in the world to going up on stage and facing
Follow the
possible
dream.
rejection.
Yes, comedy is something I always wanted to do. Like, since I was a kid, it's always been in me. It's like I always watched comedy, watched comedians, but I guess I just didn't know how to pursue it or felt like I could pursue it. I didn't have the most support at the time. I'm not going to bash anybody, but it was a journey. I don't know. It's just something that was always in the back of my mind. I was like, because I've always been funny, sometimes cheesy, sometimes just funny. I've always had it in me, and what I've learned is I think one thing that was really holding me back was just not being myself.
Absolutely.
Always having this little secret inside and this identity I'm like battling with all my life. I'm like, this is not real. But once I come out, I became really true to myself and understanding who I am. The understanding is the biggest part. I saw the comedy class online. I was like, it's time. It's time to try this out. And I did it and I loved it. And I'm just like, I said, I can take this a little step further, but
So you self-identify as a trans woman, correct? Is that
and
the
I always
proper-
identify as trans. I know a lot of trans people that won't. They will say I'm male or female, whatever the case is. They don't stick with the trans part, but I believe that that's important, especially in the world. And part of what I do on stage is talk about it in a way. I don't make it my whole set, because I like to talk about life. I think life's important.
Yes.
But I do throw it in there. I kind of want to help people understand and make it more lighthearted. Not because I think a lot of people are afraid of it. They're like, oh, you're
Yeah.
trans person. Oh my God, you're whatever.
Or they don't know even, how to refer to it or how to relate to it, or should they avoid it? Or are they going to offend, So it's great that I love hearing a Black person talk about what it's like to be Black and
Right,
things
absolutely.
white people do. I want to hear about your plight, because then I can be more sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that a lot. And one thing I've really found is funny is, especially if there's several comics in one room, is that they have a trans joke they do. And then like some people even know I'm trans, but some don't. And then I'll come off stage and like, oh my God, did I offend you or anything? I was like, I'm a comedian. If you do, then there's something wrong with me. And I was like, and I'll tell them too. I was like, especially if they come up to me, I was like, well, your joke wasn't that funny, but okay. Or I was like, I loved your joke. I think it was great. I was like, I don't get offended ever, but I love how comedians are like sometimes cognitive of it after the fact. They're like, oh crap.
Yes.
Person on the stage.
The only thing that offends me is when somebody is not in a group of any kind, religion or sexual group, doesn't matter. If it's not your group, don't say you hate those people.
Right.
If you want to hate your own people, have at it. Tell us why you hate your own people, but leave other people alone. That's just, I'm old school.
Yeah, and I don't think hate really belongs on stage on comedy. I mean, you can make jokes and make, light of situations, but hate, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going there, if you hate on anything, you're not being funny in my mind. If you're just, some people are that way.
They are. Some people just use hate like
They think it's funny. I'm like, I saw a comedian not long ago. I can't remember his name, but he was up doing he was basically just attacking everything in the worst way and just offending men, women, black, it doesn't matter. And I was just like, you think you're funny? And I heard people, in the crowd just kind of like murmuring, like, okay. He wasn't, and I think he left at one point. The host was like, glad he's gone.
Exactly.
At one point, he think he was funny. It's like all you did was make fun of people. Okay.
Yeah. And like what I feel is happening is, oh, I'm making fun of everybody, so it's okay.
Right. Instead, you just look like a jerk.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think comedy can be so much better than that. But, yeah. So in your life, coming out to yourself, coming out to your family, coming out to the world, and getting into comedy as a transgender trans woman, how has that been for you?
Good. I haven't had a lot of bad experience with it. Maybe I think a lot of it just has to do with the person's personality and who they are. Like, for me, I mean, there was more angst that brought me down versus than when I actually came out. Like family was still tough afterwards. I will say that. So I had some problems, not problems, but complications with family. But overall, it's been kind of what I expected, and I still have family in my life, so I didn't have that bad like, oh, you're out of my life forever kind of situation. Never had dealt with that. And a lot of my friends, they just they were like, all right, we know. People knew. I'm like, all right.
That's great.
So it was a lot of it was just me. And I mean, that's gonna happen. It's in my head. But outside of friends and family, I get things every now and then. I get people, I get eyes, I get murmur, I get little whispers behind me, and I'm like, whatever. But there's a lot of people in the community that are sensitive, and I want to change that in a way somehow. But
absolutely.
It doesn't have to be that serious. But
say that again.
I said it doesn't have to be that serious all the time. Like it's not, like
it doesn't have to be, and it's not your whole existence. It was a big deal to recognize it and let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, and handle it. But that's not all you are. You're a comedian and you're funny, and you don't make it your whole act. And I really appreciate that you said that, because no matter who somebody is, I really don't want to hear about anybody's sex life through their whole set. I don't. I touch on it, and what else you got?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't have that personality either. I'm just like, one thing I had a couple mentors years ago to say, just be you. Don't be afraid to talk about trans thing, and don't be like crude, like just verbally crude, what am I saying, offensive and cursing all the time. I was like, that's not my personality, so I'm not worried about it. Because if I do that, I'm going to enforce it. Because I'm just, I'm me. I'm just not that. I've never been that person. Like before, I'm always hanging out with the guys before I came out, and they're this way, like, oh, with women. I'm like, I just never was that person. I'm like, so it fits. I'm not that one that's going to
Yeah.
be
So,
derogatory and stuff. So
so you take a course in Orlando at the
Mhm.
Improv, and you
Uh-huh.
go on stage and you're doing all kind of things now. But talk to me about the very first time you're graduating from a class. Now you're in front of people at a graduation show, and you start doing mics and shows after the graduation. How did all that go?
It went well because I really the class taught me about writing, and I've always said that before. I always said I'm funny, but I don't know how to make a joke necessarily, right? There's a way. There's a format to an extent. Um, and I did open mics prior to the graduation class. The graduation class was awesome. I was first nervous about the fact that there were like 200 or something people there. I was like, oh no, there's a lot of people. But once you're on stage, you're like, there's no people here. They're not here. And to me, I feel like, and going to open mics and do stuff after is you really, for my success, to have a successful set, I have to come up and get that initial laugh. I have to come out with a laugh within like 30 seconds or less. And once you get that laugh, you're in a different level.
Yes.
And you know that. I
Yes.
mean,
If that first joke bombs, you're in trouble.
and that's one
And
thing
it's
I'll
up.
say. Right? Yeah. If that joke goes well, then you're not worried about it.
Mm-mm.
But I've also had that because I've seen other comics like if they don't get to laugh, they just cave. They like run off stage or something. But if I don't get a laugh, I keep going.
Me
I have
too.
had a couple of times where I literally forgot my set. I don't know if that was nerves or something kicking in. Like I go up there, I start talking, I'm like, it's fine. And I'm like, uh-oh. But yeah, I don't know I don't know if that's just preparation on my side or what. I don't know if you've
I
dealt with that.
I think sometimes we get so much in the moment with being with the crowd and with the listening of the audience that we get so into that we kind of leave our own body and we're part of the audience. And then we're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be up on, what was I supposed to say? Because you're so in the moment with the audience.
Yeah.
I think those are great moments when we forget.
Yeah. You can either start doing crowd work or just focus, or I've gotten focused on like remembering. I'm like, I just like blabber, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Or I'll bring up, I'm like, I'm gonna do this joke now. It doesn't fit with anything. I'm gonna go do this joke just to get back on track. I don't know.
One time I was in a comedy contest and I had 22 predictable punchlines and I'd practiced it for weeks because I have a brain injury. I'm not complaining. And so I practiced and practiced and practiced. And I had it. And the day of the contest, can't remember any of my jokes. I'm like, well, it's either going to go well or it's not. Get up there on stage, couldn't remember anything. I just started doing a little crowd work and whatever came to my brain. It was the funnest experience going off script. I mean, I had to go off script for 5 minutes. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Because
I've
you're
had those
not in
moments.
your head. You're not
Right.
really, trying to recall. You're just like, whatever comes to your mind, you say it.
True.
Have you ever gone up there with nothing planned to say to just see what comes up?
I have. I've done that a few times.
Isn't it fun?
It is. I love it. You had back of your, and I feel like there's back of your mind. You have these jokes, but I'm like, I didn't. The whole day, I'm like, I'm not looking at my notes. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to go up there with intentions of talking to the crowd, doing crowd work. And then when I get to a slow point, I was throwing a joke, and it was awesome. I need to do that more often.
Yeah, I was interviewing a guy named Rick Overton,
Mhm.
and he has a special out there called Set List. And what it is he goes up in front of a big audience, maybe 100 people, and he doesn't have anything that he's planned to say, but the host puts a word up on the teleprompter. So like he might say, tonight we're going to talk about my life and how, I managed to be this wonderful at this age. And then they'll laugh because it's a funny premise. And he'll say,
Oh, bless you.
thank you. He'll say, the first thing I did was, and he'll look at the prompter and go, he has to take this word that the guy put up on the screen. And he's, butterflies. The monarch butterfly has helped me so much to get this beautiful at this age and they has to come up with something. And so when I got done interviewing him, I said, would you mind if I do that at a mic tonight, that same format? And so I did. It was amazing. It was so fun because I was going off prompts. I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't have to think of nothing because they came up with the prompts.
Right.
All I had to do was riff off of what was on the screen.
Yeah, more of an improv.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
improv. Yeah. So talk to me about those nonprofits, the things that you've done that have like suicide prevention and the other things you've been involved in other than regular mainstream stand up at a club. You've done other things. That's amazing. Let's talk about all those other things you've done.
Yeah. Well, the suicide prevention, that was hard to write. Because I wanted it to be funny because they did like it was almost like a variety thing. Where they had a singer, they had somebody do a spoken word, and a couple comedians. But I really just had to change my mindset. I did comedy about depression and anxiety and what else did I do? I think ADD, which I do ADD jokes all the time. But I really I had to really dive into depression and anxiety because I've dealt with those and just really make it funny. It made me, think outside my normal box, if you will. So that one it's different, but I delivered and it was good. It ended up being a good set. I wanted to stick with the event, what it was about, and but I wanted it to be funny at the same time, so that really made, and that was my first year doing comedy. So that made me go, okay, let me think differently. Let me put what I learned about how to write a joke and just, so
Wow.
that was good. That was a great experience because it really put me in a different place as far as writing. One thing I did was for kids, and that was another thing. So I'm like, all right, I have to write stuff that's going to keep their attention.
Yeah.
Because kids are, they're like, I think teenage years. They're young, like 13, 14. You got to keep their attention because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So I had to really just hone in on what would a kid think. I didn't want to do like kid jokes. I wanted it to be like attention getting. And that turned out well. I was nervous about that one. I don't know why. I was just like, Jesus, they're kids. Who cares? But like, but I kept their attention the whole time. So that was fun.
Wow.
So yeah, I like when these opportunities come about, I like to take them on just to make me think in a different way. What else did I do?
Fabulous exercise for your brain.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What else do you have coming up?
Just nothing yet. I usually slow down around this time because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, and got married recently. So I want to do a show next Tuesday. Not this, a week from Tuesday. I'm gonna do that show, but other than that, I want to do a show with Russell X Mania, and
I love it.
January, other than that, just open mics and just continuing to, hone my brand and just get better. So I'm still in the growing period. I'm still a young comedian in the comedian world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I have a lot of growth ahead of me.
Yeah, well, you've delved into some very difficult tasks. I mean, suicide prevention. I've never, straight up done comedy for a suicide prevention event. I mean, I've gone and done comedy for veterans who are a lot of times suicidal. I've done
Sure.
comedy in an outpatient psych ward, but it wasn't labeled as suicide prevention. I just think it's so amazing that you're willing to hit those head on, where they're actually labeled suicide prevention.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I'm not afraid
there's so much
to.
the stupid stigma. So what if somebody's suicidal? So what if somebody's bipolar, has ADD or depression or whatever? So what? Some people have a broken third toe.
Yeah, I mean, a serious moment. It's a serious thing or situation, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah. The main thing is take the stigma out of it, and let's watch people heal instead of stigmatizing people for what they can't help, maybe what they were born with or how they've been treated in their life, for God's sake.
oh, you're right. It doesn't help to do that because you're just making it worse. Like you're
Yes.
ostracizing these people. They're like already dealing with that. You're like, bring them in, hug them, talk to them. Ask them their problems. I don't know.
So in the short 2 years that you've been around comedy, you've been doing these events. So you must have had people come up to you and say, "Thank you so much for saying something, and it related to me." Tell me about a comment or two you've gotten from people in your audience.
Oh, I gotta think about that. Usually for me, the best reward is laughter, but I have had people's. I guess with the suicide one was really just. I had a couple people come up to me afterwards and just thank me for bringing humor into such a dark subject, if you will. I can't remember his exact comment at this point, but
Yes.
I do remember they're appreciative of what I did, and they said it really makes. What I remember is they said it really makes a difference just knowing, there's a lighter side, there's a grayer side to certain situations and subjects. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is something you want to accomplish before you get old, like me, and die?
you're not old,
71.
huh?
I'm 71.
71. You're still youthful. I've seen your stand
told me
up.
the other day, somebody told me the other day, I'd still smash you.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I can see somebody saying that. No, it's well, right now I auditioned for America's Got Talent, so I like to see that come to fruition.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to continue my dream. I want to just make myself better. I want to see where acting goes. I'm diving more into that in a way, and I guess my ultimate goal, I do want to do some touring. Right now, I'm a Florida touring comic. I call myself or I should narrow it down to Central Florida because
Yeah.
I'm all through Central Florida from east to west coast. But I like to I like to get out some more and go to more, come out of California or Oregon. I know you're one of those.
Yeah.
Oregon's too
Come
hard.
to
Anyway,
Vegas. I'll show you
Yeah,
around
Vegas. I just want to see where I go with this. Honestly, I mean, right now because it's just so fresh on the mind would be America's Got Talent. I don't know that'll take me more places, but
Absolutely. Well, tell people where they can follow you. And I know this is a slow period, but remind us where you're going to be. You have a couple of shows coming up to remind us of. But where do people follow you on Facebook and YouTube, Instagram, TikTok?
Facebook, I am at
I love how nobody knows their handles. It's so funny. Like, wait a minute now.
we should know, right?
No, I don't know all mine. I just think it's hilarious. We have all this crap and we don't know it. It's like,
I'm not like
people know their passwords better than their handles.
yeah, Brianna Jaye on Facebook. That's what I thought. Jay's my middle name, so I'll go by that on Facebook. That's Brianna Jaye. Instagram is at, I think it's Brian Rockmore for some reason. Brann Rockmore, Rockmore. That's Instagram. It's really the two I'm on right now.
All right.
But I'll be at Savoy, Orlando on the 13th of December. So a week from Tuesday, 10 days from now. Is that really 10 days? Yeah, I guess so. And then I'll be in Lakeland in January. I don't know the date yet, but at the Parrot. And other than that, I'll be doing some open mics, just testing new material and growing.
Super duper. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on. And now every time you get something that you want to promote, hit me up, come back on for 5 or 10 and plug it. You never know who's watching. Somebody might actually come to your show out of it.
Absolutely. And we're hoping to get our little sitcom going. We'll see how that goes.
So are
In
you
the near
able to tell us,
future.
are you able to tell us about that in depth, or is that something you're keeping under wraps?
I meant to reach out to, you know her actually. She's a friend of yours. Here's Hope. I don't know if that rings a bell.
Yeah.
It's called Here's Hope. It's a local sitcom. We're filming the pilot here shortly for pre-production. Basically, we need production. We need money. No, but we have a great cast. It's going to be, I don't know, I consider it Murphy Brown, Designing Women type show. I want to be I'm Sandy, the handy trans, which is funny. I go by Sandy, but I'm like the handy trans at the little inn we're doing or Airbnb. So I'm kind of like, I'm gonna be like kind of sarcastic but helpful and MacGyver-ish. I can do anything. So, but not a lot. I mean, until we actually get the pilot shot, we'll see where it goes and go from there. But
So right now it's in pre-production, waiting on financing, etc.
Yep.
Super. I hope that comes about. Let me know, and we'll get the whole cast on chatting it up.
We can do that. I'll definitely work on that. Once we get the pilot shot, I think I'll talk to the creator and see if we can get that worked out.
Super. Thank you so much, Brianna. Brianna Jaye, you guys, on Facebook. On Instagram, it's Briann, Briann
Rockmore.
Rockmore, Rockmore.
Yeah, Instagram did that to me.
Instagram's terrible. Everybody.
Instagram made an app.
It's ridiculous.
Oh no, I'm wrong. Oh crap. Shh, I'm wrong. Brianna_Rockmore22.
Brianna_Rockmore22.
Yeah, it was the other. I think I changed it. So
super.
Awesome. I'm still getting used to all social media stuff.
Yeah, we can just Google your name and all that will pop up anyway.
Usually. Many things will pop up. Wow.
Yeah, anything could.
Let me up, see what happens.
Thank you, Brianna. This has been a delight for me. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for the invite and opportunity. It was great.
I'm so glad I got told about you because you're a delight.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. You are too.
Thank you. Bye.
Your day.
You too.